Okay. Hi, my name is Stella Eneyang, your Queen of Talk, and I welcome you to another edition of the program, Tango with ST.
Body shaming is the practice of trying to make somebody look feel bad or inadequate somehow because of the way they look. It is most prevalent when it is directed against women and girls, especially growing girls who are still trying to resolve issues of self-esteem, self-confidence, trying to find their place in the society, trying to resolve issues of who they are really and what they are all about. Body shaming is usually directed at people who are far more of anything than normal. For example, people who are on the plus size when they are being body shamed because people calling them fat. People don't want to be fat anymore, or people who are too thin, who are skinny, and so on. What I find about body shaming is that it stems from notions of beauty, who is beautiful and who is not. Over time, especially in this part of Africa, in this part of the world, we have been told by people from other parts of the world that because we are black, we have certain shape of our hair, our noses, our lips, even our body, our figure, we are not beautiful.
Now, the issue of body shaming, there are certain things that we have adopted from the Western culture that has affected us positively and negatively. Now, the issue of body shaming, I mean, if you ask me to be honest, was non-existent until the social media age. We now created our own idea of what an ideal person, should look like. MTV gave us this perfect picture. When you're too fat, they say you are too, when you're robust, they say you are too fat. When you are skinny, they say you are too skinny. Who told you, who gave you these parameters, as it were? And so many people have digested these things people have thrown at them, and some people have committed suicide in the process. It's unnecessary.
For a long time, Africans were made to feel that they are less beautiful than other people, lighter skinned people. But over time, that has been fought to a standstill. That notion has been fought to a standstill across the globe. And now we are seeing that there's a recalibration, if you like, of what is beauty and what is not beautiful.
I mean, as a child growing up, I know what I suffered. It wasn't I wasn't body shamed whatsoever, but my mates in school, in secondary school, then they knew that I was quiet and I didn't like trouble, so they enjoyed poking fun at me. They just liked rubbing me off on the wrong side, and that got to me. And I discovered something, that the more I reacted negatively, it excited them. They were happy, and that's exactly what people who body shame others, that's the joy that they derive. They get excited when they throw jabs at people, when they body shame people and see that they are responding negatively. It excites them, it feeds their ego. And that's what those who are suffering from body shaming should try to understand.
There's a story that a white man met a Japanese and an African, and he told the African, what's wrong with you? Your skin is black, you are dark, your hair is like wool, because it's not flowing like mine. Your eyes are wide, your eyeballs are brown, your nose is white, your lips are thick. there's something wrong with you. And the African man was so ashamed of himself that he went into his closet and straightened out his hair, bleached his skin, tried to lengthen his nose, make it more pointed than that of a white person. He did a lot of havoc with his self-image. And then the white man met the Japanese, and he said the same thing to the person. Your hair is so straight, your eyes are slanted, you're short, you are not normal. You don't look normal. Your skin is yellow, not creamy like mine. And the Japanese man responded and told the white man, there's something wrong with you too. Every other person's eyes are brown and black eyeballs, yours are blue or green. It's something like a cat. What's wrong with you? You look like a cat. Your hair is blonde. What's wrong with your hair? It's blonde. Did you do something to it? Why is your nose so long? What do you need such a long nose for? He tried to put, because of the inherent pride that the Japanese had in his own, looks and culture and heritage, which the African man's own was destroyed by the process of slavery and colonization. He could respond properly to the white person in a way that the African could not. So you find that it's an anecdote, may not be real, but it speaks to something that we are still grappling with. The idea that had been given to us by other people who came across the seas and told us that we were not beautiful. But now there is a pushback against that.
Block your mind. Whatever they are saying against you, just block your mind. God loves you the way you are. Just be healthy, and that's it. And the truth is, one man's meat is another man's poison. There are people there are men who love them big, you understand, and there are men who like them slim and skinny.
And I'm glad to see that a lot of women now have transcended that body shaming, and they are having their natural look, natural afro hair, leaving their skin the way they were created, taking pride in their shape, their figure.
Welcome back. I hope you're still there. It's good to know that you're still watching, because it's still the program Tango with Esther, with your queen of talk, Stella Eneyang.
Well, I think we should all take a cue from what's been going on in the US in the past few decades, especially since the 60s. After the civil rights struggle, there were black people fighting for rights to vote, rights to use public transportation, public conveniences, restaurants, etc., equal rights with everybody else. There's been follow-up movements, by other people, by white women, by all sort of people, as to how they should be treated because of something they did not choose. How they look, for example, what looks they were born with, for example. And as a result of that, we've had what we call political correctness, where people use language that is sensitive to the feelings of others. So in that country and maybe elsewhere, we don't use words like fat anymore, especially if the word fat it comes with the implication that there's something wrong with the person. Or thin, if the implication is that there's something wrong with the person. So a more proper language, or short even, or poor even, language that is offensive to the self-esteem of the person is directed at. So we hear words like endowed, plus size, big, on the big side, on the large side. Language that is sensitive to the feeling of people. So we find that in some parts of the world, people are not poor, but they are financially challenged, etc., etc. People are not, there's political correctness. The language of the politicians in that part of the world, it's, measured in order not to offend. So yes, we have to be politically correct when we talk to people that have issues with their bodies that they did not choose. Let me use a personal example. I was born left-handed, and I grew up in a culture in my early years that frowned at left-handedness, not necessarily from a social angle, but also from a spiritual angle. Among the Ashanti people of Ghana, a left-handed child is there's some devilishness, evil in him. They frown seriously on left-handedness. In fact, the fact that my mother didn't have any further children after me was blamed on my left-handedness and what it denoted from their own spiritual point of view. So I grew up with that notion. And my mom, because she was such a young person when I was born, she was still a teenager, tried very hard to change that left-handedness to right-handedness with terrible psychological effects on me. So I grew up struggling with the fact that I was both abnormal, but luckily, as God will have it, she enrolled in a school where the staff, the faculty was mostly made up of expatriates, not just Europeans and Americans, but also Arabs, Lebanese, and so on. And about 70% of them were left-handed. And she was shocked. So nothing wrong with being left-handed. And then there was this, then she began to hear from this other non-Ashanti culture that left-handed people were particularly brilliant and creative, very innovative, very good with their hands and so on. So that was when she stopped trying to force me into right-handedness and the negative impact it had on me then. And then as I grew up struggling with, I read up on left-handedness, and I saw that the researchers and people who wrote about this phenomenon said had only good things to say. Fantastic, creative, innovative, world leaders, and so on. And that boosted my confidence immeasurably. So I think that people should understand that what they look like is not so much as important as what's inside of them. We must teach our children that what's inside of them was far more important than what's outside, what they look like. And in fact, it was the late Bernard Shaw, I think, who said that most of the world's problems, most of the world's achievements and accomplishments were achieved by people who didn't feel too well about themselves, who didn't feel too well. That is physically too well. Men and women who were not in the best of health, were not blessed with good looks.
As long as you're healthy and you're comfortable in your skin, honey, get on with it and don't care what anyone has to say. I hope this helps.
In fact, there's this anecdote I always laugh at. They say that the great Albert Einstein, one of the greatest scientists in the history of the world, had an encounter with a model, a beautiful lady, a model, who suggested, proposed an affair between them for the sole purpose of having a child. And Einstein said, the lady said, imagine if we had a child with your brains and my looks, what a child that would be. And Einstein responded, but what if the child is blessed with your brains and my looks? What a horror we have brought to the world. So I think it is what is inside of us, and we must begin to reinforce that in the young children, especially the girl child growing up in a society that places such premium on looks. We mustn't devalue what's inside. The beauty of the personality is far more beautiful, much more significant, much more important than outward a pretty face or a thoroughfare. To those who take pleasure in denigrating people because of the way they look, I think the joke is on you, because it means that you don't see beyond what face value. You must begin to explore the personality of the person you're dealing with. That's of far more worth than what they look like. And for those of you who feel devalued, denigrated, body shamed, I think you should take pride in the body you're created with. Of course, if there's something about your body you don't like, if it's within your power to do one or two things, take more care about how you dress up, what you put on, and if you feel that maybe you need to shed weight, you can exercise and do something about it. But don't let anybody put you down and summarize your personality based on what you look like.
Thank you. Welcome back. I hope you're still there. It's good to know that you're still watching because still the program Tango with Esther with your Queen of Talk, Stella Enayang. Until we come your way next time, don't forget to like our page, comment, leave a message, and most importantly, subscribe. Bye for now. It's still Tango with Esther with your Queen of Talk, Stella Enayang. It's bye from me.